What's up, guys? MikeCoco back here, bringing you guys a Dmitra first impressions. And before you guys tell me that her event is almost over, I know that's true, but it just seems to happen like a coincidence or something that the low release date for the event heroes always seem to come around when I have midterms. And I just finished three of my midterms last week, and this Monday too. So basically like yesterday. And I have two more coming, so I don't know when the next video will be for the upcoming hero. But we're almost through season 5, so there's not many heroes to go through. I should have next week's or this week's hero, this week's new hero, done by next week, hopefully, if I have enough time. But I just wanted to get like a quick recap of Dmitra. Likely all of you guys have already hired her or have not hired her already. But basically, what her skill is she's a combination of Isabella and Daphne. So she is a magic user, tome user more specifically, and she has pretty decent stats at 3 star. The normal trend is around 3k in, so that's definitely not a surprise there. And her skill is actually what is kind of useful and kind of unique in effect. Um, when you look at her skill, it's actually a silence and attack debuff, which is very similar to Daphne and Isabella combined. And right off the bat, her skill is actually quite useful because in combination, a silence and attack may be almost equivalent to a stun, if not better, because sometimes a silence is better than a stun. Um, because you can silence for 2 turns and then you can stun after for another 2 turns. So that kind of gives you 4 turns of controlling the boss. But the problem is we're getting a silencer for a 2 turn guaranteed silencer in season 5, which is very late. If you count the number of stunners we already have 3 guaranteed stunners. We have Drake with Alice and with Lucida just being a few weeks ago. And pretty much everybody has a stunner. If they have enough hearts, they pretty much have a stunner. So it really doesn't make sense to use a silencer anymore because the strategy has been revolving around stunners. And this is something that J-Rock pointed out, my guild leader, and it makes sense. Now, back in season 3, silence and attack was, a pretty decent combo if you didn't have Drake. But with Lucida being released a few weeks back, and with the ability to pull Alice from some of the plat tickets a while back as well, we really don't have a use for silence anymore. If you notice, I haven't used Isabella in a long time, um, or an attack debuffer in a long time. But basically, her skill while being good is just obsolete now. If we had the skill in like season 2 or season 3, then those who did not get Drake would have a perfect chance to catch up and utilize her skill because a silence plus attack debuff, like I said before, is almost equivalent to a stun. Her attack debuff, I believe, should be around the standard of 40% debuff. I haven't hired her yet, but I'm planning not to because A, her event's almost over. B, as I said before, her skill is obsolete, and that's pretty much it. That's the only 2 reasons you need to know. Now, specifically, her skill says there's a chance to silence for 2 turns, but that is actually wrong. It's 100% proc, meaning it's 100% chance to silence in a cross for 2 turns. So all the enemies in a cross will become silenced, not just your selected target, which is kind of different from stun, because stun is generally guaranteed stuns generally only target one person, but this is where silence gets a shine because it can silence the entire area. So you can hit up to 5 people maximum because that's how a cross works. And the attack debuff works perfectly in combination with silence because generally speaking, if you're using silence, you want to attack debuffer so that they won't use their strong skill and that they're forced to use a normal attack while being attack debuffed, meaning their normal attack will do less damage. So while being very practical on paper, it just doesn't work anymore because everybody has been resorting to using stunners. And I believe that we may have even outgrown the ability to use silence at all at this point in the game. So that's pretty much my review or first impressions on Dmitra, or it should be last impressions because her event's almost over and you won't be able to hire her anymore. But that's pretty much it. Her 5 star stats are okay. If we take a look, 3.5k int is again generally seen as a standard. So yeah, you can pick her up if you want to use her for mines. She might be useful in Affinity Wars to control a lane, but that really depends on how the your opponent places their people. Um, a lot of people use cross formation in Infinity Wars, but the part that doesn't really make a lot of sense is if you're attacking like, I'll show you guys really quickly, just to give you a demonstration. If they people A lot of people see like, cross formation, they think instantly, oh, my cross hitter is going to do a lot of damage, but no, that's not immediately true because the cross hitter may just target, let's say, Karina, and it'll only hit Nos. So you have to focus the cross on Nos first, and that will allow Dmitra to hit all 5 targets. So that's basically how that works. Um, but as you can see here, if you had Dmitra and she targeted the middle lane, it would have silenced all 3 or these guys. So in Infinity Wars, quite a good practice. Um, but whether or not, well, I don't know why this is here. Whether or not she actually is useful in something like tower or your auto formation, that's highly debatable, especially if you have a stunner. If you have a stunner, there's pretty much no point in getting her just for the silence. So that's pretty much it for my first impressions on Dmitra. Again, her event's ending soon. Just don't bother hiring her. We're gonna have 3 more Season 5 heroes, 2 of which I believe are very, very good. The third one is okay, but we'll have to see based on how their skill actually works. So that's pretty much it for this first impressions, guys. Peace.